BobbyFi and Eric Tabor. We are going to be talking through the PGA Championship this week. I'm pumped. I'm excited to get after it. I think there's going to be a lot of. I feel like this week there's going to be more discrepancy on the pricing thing that you always release after about the projected ownership versus the actual ownership. I just got a feeling that it's going to be a little bit different than some of us are anticipating, because it does feel to me like it's going to be a stars and scrubsy-ish build, but I'm curious exactly where it all ends up focusing. So any overall thought sheets other than the fact that I know you want to be long and accurate, which people say that about a golf tournament. It's like, oh, don't you always want to be long and accurate? Anyway, that's the main thing. Difficult, rough, but apparently less difficult than it seems. That's what I took away. What are your thoughts before we get into it?
Well, first of all, just so you guys know, I'm going to be in Virginia for my son's graduation this weekend, so I won't be really sweating. But Sunday I am coming back, so hopefully I land Sunday, and I will have a sweat, which is going to be shocking enough considering my recent performance in classic slates. But it does certainly rates to be listen, this is where all the best players are. And that's why you get some of these guys at 5K, and some of these guys at 6K, because you do have to make the cut for openers, and it's not so easy. So anyway, you do have the salaries are a little more spread out than I thought. I actually thought that for some reason they would price Scheffler higher, and I don't mean higher than 13.2, but I thought they'd price him higher than everybody else, a little bit more. But that's I'm still not getting to that much of it in my stuff. But we'll talk about that. But the thing about having all these 5Ks that just kind of sort of make sense is you could play, like, if you like them, like two of the top guys with absolutely no problems.
Right.
I guess the three guys that not show up. We'll talk about projections and stuff in a minute, but the three guys that are always part of kind of like these majors narratives, these majors, are Brooks Koepka, Tiger, and Phil Mickelson. You know what I mean? Like, these are the three guys that people play or don't play, you know what I mean, without even thinking about their form, without even thinking about whatever. Because Koepka, regardless of whatever he does and anything else, he appears, right, to just show up in majors, and even though like Tiger and Phil Mickelson really are just kind of washed, like people still play a little bit of them in these types of events, because every once in a while, like you said, like Phil Mickelson just win like 2 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, I finished second 2 years ago at the Masters.
And Tiger just is Tiger. So I just want to just give you guys a little disclaimer. I was the ugly American in this for this event. I took one of Rick's recommendations. I actually made a deposit on Underdog just so that I could do this.
Oh.
I played a two-team parlay of Tiger and Phil Mickelson getting over 71.5 in round one. It hurts.
Is it like even money?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It hurts to do it. Yeah. I just couldn't help it. So I just feel free to post the screenshots when Tiger's -3 and Phil with his Masters -4 or whatever it is. But in any case, I'm ready to get after it today. I'm going to be playing my same 150 as usual. I'll play one big buy-in, play a couple of the single entries, and hope we get lucky. So let me just share my screen.
Yeah, we'll share your screen. We'll go through it.
We'll go through tier by tier. Then we'll have a little contest, see if we can figure out who's going to be the best performer from each tier, pretty much. And
let's do it. All right, Cheats. Well, I'm going to let you start it off with who is winning this tournament.
Well, we're not doing it yet. First, we got to go through this.
Oh my God! Wait, what do we have to do?
You really.
You're right. I went for it.
You really warped through this content. Look at that.
I know. I just went all
ready. Okay, make sure you hit the like button. We'll see you guys later.
But
now I got to do this. Hey, I'm recording.
All right, guys. So we're going to be going through basically here and talking about what we like the best, and then doing that. I don't know why I started with the end. Maybe it's because I.
That's awesome. Listen, shake up the mojo or whatever it is.
Yeah. All right. So What are your preferred? You know, we've got 8 guys in the 10K plus range. What are you looking at here?
Okay, so 10K. So we got to do all these. So 10K and up, I do have, you know, all these guys looking pretty good. You know, Scheffler, McIlroy, Xander, Aberg, and Rahm. I have those guys higher than all of the others. So
Yeah.
I'm not really getting to Cantlay. I'm not getting to Koepka. That's just the way it is for me. I will say that in my big buy-ins, I'm not playing anybody.
Interesting.
Yeah, actually, the only guy I think I'm playing in this range in the big buy-ins is Aberg.
Wow.
Just the way it's worked out.
Mm-hmm.
But listen, you're going to get no matter who you play, you can get a low-owned guy, you know, that's really good. Like you can get John Rahm at 10%, you know, for example. You can get Colin Morikawa at 9%. You could probably get Koepka at 10%. You know, so who do you like in this top range?
Koepka's my number one. So somebody's got to win. Koepka and Rahm are the two I'll be the most overweight on because of the lack of ownership, and I like both of them a lot. You got all kinds of narratives here. You got Scheffler coming off of 2 wins and a baby. You got Rory coming off of 2 wins and a divorce. You've got what's it called? Brooks coming off of a win at Live. So there's a lot of stuff, and it's just like, which one are we going into? But the divorce and the new baby is the most interesting thing to me, because Scheffler is sort of like an automatic thing. It does feel stupid. I'm trying to be under the field on him. It doesn't feel right. I guess game theory wise, you could argue it, but I am going to try, and I'm going to take a shot that maybe things are a little bit different right at this moment for him than he's ever been before. So maybe I can glean some off of that, because he is more expensive than everybody else. But honestly, you know, just the usual Scheffler, if he was 2K more than everybody, it probably would have been fair for the last couple of years. So I'll have exposure to a lot of these guys. Xander is like, I don't like him to win the tournament, but I think he's, you know, going to be right around there. So I'll have some exposure there. I feel similarly with Oberg. I do think Oberg could win this tournament. It wouldn't surprise me. I'm going to be a little bit lower on Morikawa, and that might be a mistake. And I'm going to be a little bit lower. Actually, he'll probably be lower than the field on Xander, but I'm still going to have some exposure. He's just going to be really popular. And I'm going to be lower on Scotty as of right now. But everybody else, I plan to be with the field or above. Oh, Cantlay, I won't be playing hardly at all. The only reason I'm playing any of them is honestly just because the lack of ownership. I'll just take a few shots. That's pretty much it. But yeah, favorites being Brooks and Rahm to get different.
I mean, as far as my exposures, I'll just tell you, right? I mean, I do have 25. I have a 25% Scheffler in the lottery. Okay, and I have like 24% McIlroy in the lottery. I have like 18% Aberg in the lottery, and everybody else under 10% or lower. Right now in the big buy-ins, I got to pull this up. Let me see real quick. And again, I don't know what I'm going to change between now and I leave. I'm kind of content with this. Is I don't have anybody except for Aberg in this range in any of my big buy-ins.
Yeah. Interesting. All right, so let's talk about the 9K guys, because I'm guessing you're going to have a number of those guys, especially in the big buy-ins, because you don't have much exposure to the 10K plus range. So who of the 9K guys do you prefer this week?
I am getting, again, and I ran this like a lot of different times. I originally was getting a whole ton of DeChambeau, then I was getting a little less, then I was getting a lot, then I was getting a little less again. And it turns out that I'm going to be playing Homa in like the big buy-in, I think. As far as just kind of my overall thoughts on the range, I do have DeChambeau rated the best. The guy who is really popping that I want to play a decent amount of DraftKings, but I'm playing FanDuel this week, and I'm getting just all of him on FanDuel is Say Goodnight Raquel Joaquin Niemann. He's he's my main squeeze, so to speak, in this range throughout the course of it. So he's going to be my top guy. DeChambeau, Neiman, some Wyndham Clark, I guess, as well. Now, again, just as a matter of whatchamacallit, what was I going to say, transparency. I did look at my big buy-in, and I did lie. I do have someone in the top range. I actually have Rahm in my big buy-in, and actually nobody over 9K at all in that buy-in. Yeah.
This is going to be the forgotten range, and I have very strong, like I might even, we'll see when we come down to the picking winners. I love Wyndham Clark this week. I am just willing to throw away last week. It's not the Masters. It's not a different type of course. It's a course that should suit him well. Not having been there before, maybe that's an effect. I'm not worried about it. I love Wyndham. I think it's kind of hilarious that Wyndham is priced below guys like Patrick Cantlay and Morikawa when Wyndham has clearly been the second best golfer in the world, at least on the PGA Tour over the past year plus. So I'm in on Wyndham. I'm in on a guy who you were in on big time last time, and I think that I don't think he's going to be as low owned because I think every sharp guy has been talking about him. I mean, look, if you had to make a course for Bryson DeChambeau, this would be sort of his thing. And I'm not as worried about the rough as I was. I like Bryce. I like Wyndham, and I like Neiman. All in that. So that whole range is where I'm heaviest. Is this? I mean, it's all Hovland. Everybody 92 to 96. I like all of those guys a ton. And then I'm hearing a lot of people I really respect who love Homa this week. So I'm probably going to have to give that one more of a look. But that's my thinking is that you can play 3 of these guys if you're not playing the 10K guys. And I think I'm going to have some builds like that with like Bryce Wyndham Homa or Bryce Wyndham Neiman, Bryce Wyndham Justin Thomas. For what it's worth, those of you guys who don't know, Justin Thomas back home. I understand he hasn't been in his best form, but he's been much better this year than he was last year. And it's the kind of thing at low ownership. If he was going to be high owned, maybe I just jump off of it. But low ownership, I just think getting overexposure to those guys makes a lot of sense. I am much less on the Zalatoris, Cam Young. I'm up in the air on, but I like a lot in this range actually. So I might actually end up with builds that start lower than 10K as well. I'm not touching Cam Smith right now, but I probably like in mass entry, I probably end up with like a couple % of them. All right, 8K range. So you got to have some guys down, or maybe not. Maybe you got guys in the 7K range. I don't know.
I got 3 guys I want to highlight here. Neither of them are particularly earth-shattering, and one of them I think is at the end of the day, this is kind of stupid to say, but I think this guy might be one of the more popular golfers on the slate, certainly in big buy-ins, just because, I mean, he's showing up in all my stuff and people are talking about him. And anyway, we'll get to that in a second. But first of all, Tommy Fleetwood, definitely like him. One of the 3 guys that I really have a lot of in this range. Also, a guy I played last week, didn't work out, but I'll go back to Sahith Theegala at 8,100. But the guy that's going to end up being really chalky, but I'm just going to be way over on him, is Tyrrell Hatton. I just kind of just feel that steam coming. and at the end of the day, like Tyrrell Hatton might end up being like 25% owned by the time the slate locks. But he just makes so many lineups work, and he just looks really, really good. So he's my favorite. Ownership, agnostic, but I think he is going to be really popular. But I'll just throw those 3 into the kitty: Hatton, Theegala, and Fleetwood.
So we got 2 of the same guys. I love Fleetwood. So just to, I want to point out, so over the last 5 years at majors, the average finishing position for all golfers that qualify or whatever, that that played the majority of them, it's Scotty Scheffler, it's John Rahm, it's Brooks Koepka, and it's Tommy Fleetwood. Those are the best average finishing positions of any of the majors. Tommy Fleetwood's top 5 to 3 of the last 4, I believe. I will be all over Fleetwood as I always am, but especially this week, I very much like him. I also like that there's going to be some weather and some issues like that. He always plays well in these types of situations, and I love Fleetwood this week. I totally agree with your Hatton take. I don't know if he'll get as much steam. I think there's a perception about him as a driver that he's not like one of these guys who hits it really far. Well, he does hit it far inaccurate. I mean, there's that old thing where they're trying to hit it with inside of you have to hit it 300 yards, but you've got to hit it with inside a 3-yard thing. And they tried to get all the best golfers to do it. And he was it's sort of like a funny thing, but his first try, he nails it. You know what I mean? And then he does it again, nails it. Nobody else was even close. That's an insane thing to do. It just sort of was a funny thing, but I do like Tyrrell Hatton. The other ones from this range, I'm sort of meh on most of this range, to be honest with you. I'm interested in the low ownership of Fitz. I'm interested in the low ownership of Hideki. I think Sam Burns is a guy who I would say fits this course, but I don't really know he just hasn't been the same guy quite, although he looked okay last week. And then I just am not getting to much else. So you mentioned Thigala, and if I had to pick a third, I might even say like something stupid like Patrick Reed, who just seems to play better in majors, but I probably won't even go there. So you know what it'd be? Probably just take a shot on Dustin Johnson would be my third guy from this range. Just hope that he gets back to his former glory or whatever. All right, 7,500 to 7,900.
Yeah, so Siwoo Kim remains in really good form, and I'm gonna have a lot of him. He's my favorite, and alongside of Benny An as well. So Benny An and Siwoo Kim are my top owned from this group. It's so funny. Like in other builds, I earlier this week I was getting a ton of Minwoo Lee, so I'm going to let you maybe try to talk me back into more of that. So those are the three guys I guess I want to highlight: are Siwoo Kim, Benny An, and maybe Minwoo Lee.
Yeah, so the Minwoo, I'm more than happy to be overweight on. I could see it going either way. People keep saying, "Oh, he's not accurate enough. He's not accurate enough." But he hits the hell out of the ball. I like Minwoo Lee. I think Benny An is going to be the most popular person in this range. He's been people look at things different ways. So they're saying, okay, well, last week he gained the most strokes putting of any player in the field, and he's like one of the worst putters. That's always been his thing. And people are like, oh, this is a sign he's going to, And to me, that seems like the kind of sign you don't want. Where if you gain all those strokes, why aren't you winning the tournament? Basically. Anyway, it just funny, just a thing. But I do think Benny An like makes sense on paper. I think Corey Connors makes a lot of sense. More not necessarily hitting it so long, but he does hit it straight, stays out of trouble. I like him for the majors for that reason. But my favorite by far in this range is Sepp Straka. Not even close. His numbers overall, not to mention his numbers in major tournaments or even other near majors, have been unbelievable. And I love Sepp Straka. I have him as one of my priority plays on the slate. And honestly, he's the only one who I really have priority on. I'm getting sprinkles of these other guys. I'm getting sprinkles of Sung J M because he looked good last week. And if he bounces back, he's certainly not a 7,900 player. Corey Connors, I mentioned, I think is a stable force. Taylor Gooch, who doesn't believe that you can win a tournament unless he's in it. It counts as a major unless he's in it. He made a big stink about that. Now he gets to play in this one. So if he doesn't win it, I guess all those other tournaments still count. But yeah, not a ton for me in this range. Really, Sepp Straka is the main one that I'm going to be exposed to. All right, 7K to 74.
Yeah, 7K to 74. Boccia, I guess. Henley, I guess. Noren, I guess. Jaeger, I guess. All these guys. I've heard of some talk about the Burmester. I don't know. I don't know about that.
Yeah, the also kept wanting to force him into my builds when I was trying to do
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So those are the three guys. For me, Boccia, Noren, and Jaeger. How much am I actually getting of them? Let's take a look, because I'm going through my exposure. I got one guy I'm going to talk to about in a minute, which I'm getting like so much of. It's like stupid, but I'm doing it anyway. So I guess of all those guys, I have Noren as my top owned at about 20%. Yeah, so that's that.
Noren, Henley are the two, I think, logical answers. Keegan's playing with Tiger. I don't really know what that means, but interesting just to, just point it out there. Højgaard is the one who I'm probably going to take a little bit of a, I think we should give this guy a reasonable chance here. It wasn't long ago we were talking about him in the same sentence as Oberg as like the next guys. We've seen already that these young guys, who are just incredibly, they're just very, very, very well prepped. they've played well at these tournament and these majors where they haven't played before. We just saw Oberg do it, with the second at the Masters. Maybe Højgaard is the sneaky one you can get to, but certainly logically, Henley, Noren make a lot of sense, and Jaeger. But I feel again more wishy-washy about this range. Oddly enough, I have a lot of plays down in the 6 and 5K ranges. So I think that my builds are sort of going to be like 3 9Ks and then 3 of the cheapish guys, or like 2 of the double spend ups, or one spend up with 1 10K plus with 2 9Ks, and then we get down into the 6K and 5K range, because I do think there's legitimate plays down there this week, and it also gets you a little bit off of the same builds. Well, maybe it won't get off the same builds. I still think people are going to stars and scrubs it. I'm just curious who they're going to scrubs it with. All right. So what do you like below 7K? Well, between
I do feel bad for you, because I know you don't want to play like so many lineups, but I know that like when I tell you that I have like a lot of the guys, you're like, oh crap, now I got to play some of them. So unfortunately, there's a guy that you're gonna have to play some of, I think, and you're really not gonna like it. But you know what? Every other time,
Brendan Todd.
What's that?
Don't tell me it's Brendan Todd.
Well, I'll get to it, I guess.
Okay. Well, so under 7K, who you?
Yeah, under 7K. And all the other times I've said, oh, I like this. You're like, oh, I'm glad you mentioned that, because now I want to play some of them. It's just literally no reason for me to do this, but I'm just getting to him, and it's like it's one of those things. It's so stupid, it just might work. I'm currently right now getting 31% of Denny McCarthy.
31%.
So what can I say? Throw one in the lottery just for the sweat or whatever it is. Don't know how on earth it's getting there. It's literally the exact opposite of the course I want from him. But you know what? I tried to do the golfers that are supposed to be good on the course, and that hasn't worked. So I'm kind of happy I'm getting it. So I am getting 31% Denny McCarthy. But you want an actual good play? I'll give you an actual good play.
McCarthy's the most popular guy in under 6K, I think.
Oh, under 7K?
Yeah, at least as of right now, what I'm looking at, I think he's the highest projected ownership.
Oh, okay. But the guy I'm getting that is actually a good play, I think, that I'm probably going to play one of my big buys is Keith Mitchell. So Keith Mitchell and Denny McCarthy would be the 2 guys I'll highlight between 6K and 7K.
Yeah, so I support and have Keith Mitchell as one of my 3 guys in the under 7K that I really like. Kitayama is probably my favorite. This is a guy who can hit it long and straight, and if the putting comes around, we're going to see a big week out of him. So I really like Kitayama quite a bit. And the other ones for me are, I guess it's a sort of a tie. The other 6K. Well, no, we know me. I'm going to play Taylor Moore at 6,200 a bunch. Really like Taylor Moore. Just over and over again, underpriced. I really like Jake Knapp. I know that people would say, "Oh, he's done well in these lower events or whatever." He played well at Pebble Beach. He's good at long and straight, and he's I was reading about the best players from 170 to 220 yards in, because that's what you're going to get a lot of that on approach. And he was the 5th best player in the world this year, factoring in all the tours. So that's enough for me to definitely take a stand a little bit on him. So Knapp, Moore, again, I'm going to have more guys than you. I do have a little Denny McCarthy. He's showing up as fairly popular. And again, I agree, not necessarily the right course. The guys, though, who I wanted to talk about, and I was curious if you were going to mention them, JT Poston is incredible from that length as well. So I like him for the approach factor. But what I wanted to just point out was this thing about Tom Hoge, that he still has shot the most rounds under par this year on the PGA Tour. Now, partly he's played more events than Scottie Scheffler has, and that's the only reason why. He may even be second now. I'm not 100% sure, but he's right there either way. So Hoge, Mitchell, I like that Hoge, Mitchell, Kitayama, probably the best, but I am going to have a lot of exposure to Taylor Moore, as well as a little of the McCarthy and a little bit of the going back to Cam Davis and wild card low own Adrian Moronk. I know I'm going to mention a lot of names, but I did skip most of the other ranges just so I could play these guys. So the last one, Taylor Pendrith, I would be overweight on him. He's playing too well right now to be 6K flat here and just get no ownership. I think that's a guy I could talk myself into. He played a really nice bounce back after winning the week before. Played well again last week. All right, so under 6K Sheets, who you got?
You know what? Unfortunately, I don't have much. I'll let you handle it. But the one guy I do have, I mean, listen, he made directed 3 of my favorite movies of all time. Traffic was just awesome. And Aaron Brockovich was really good. And Sex, Lies, and Videotape was a smaller film, but was really, really good. And the fact that Steven Soderbergh can now play professional golf at this level is really, really impressive. So I'll have to give it a shot here. So Soderbergh at 5,700. He's the guy that I have more than 5% of in this range, and that's pretty much it.
I like that because Soderbergh is my highest owned player in the.
Oh, let's go!
So I'm in with the Soderbergh for sure. I mean, for those of you guys who don't know, he's been unbelievable on the European tour. All of his metrics measure up with all these guys really well. A couple other guys that I noticed though that just seemed a little bit, they shouldn't be this cheap. Mackenzie Hughes at 5,800. Bo Hostler. I think Maverick McNeely. It's not the course, but I think he's played too well to be 5,900. It just doesn't quite make sense to me. In terms of guys who could just outreach and get there, Ben Griffin. He's one I've got 8% of. It's not a huge percentage, but that's something. Austin Eckroat, I have a medium percentage of. Let's see. Oh, Chris Gotterup, Patrick Rogers. The one I kind of like a little bit down, a little lower is Luke List. I don't like this course for Doug Ginn, but at 5,500, I think he's going to make the cut, and there's upside there. Thorbjorn Olesen. I know there's a lot of names, but that's pretty much it. And for what it's worth, basically the guys, I like the way that Brooks talked about this event. He said, look, 50 of the guys who are playing legitimately have zero chance to actually win, and honestly, there's 30 guys who there's just no chance they can make or 20 guys that no chance they can make the cut. So really, it's 30 golfers that you're talking about, really, that you have to beat, because they allow all these other guys in from all over the place that just have no hope. You're gonna find your pool is gonna look a little smaller, I guess, than if you max entered most things. But for me, I'm trying to I am trying to get some more multiple exposures to this 5K range, because it does allow you to do whatever you do up top, whether you want to play Scotty or not. I also will throw in, sprinkles of Matt Wallace and Eric Van Rooyen. I just don't think there's a huge gap between the 7Ks and the 50 whatever hundreds. So that's, I guess, my take.
I have a question. How many? And it's kind of a loaded question. You can answer however you want. How many lineups are you playing? / how many lineups? Wait. Okay. How many lineups are you playing? / how many lineups will you have Tiger and Phil?
I'm playing 150. I'll play the $5 150. So in those, I'll probably end up with 2% or so of each.
Okay.
I'm not I'm not an idiot.
Fair enough.
But at the same time, it was all the people who told us that Phil was an idiotic play a couple years ago.
I know.
He got 0.5% owned at the Masters. But I prefer them on a course like that they know they've played a million times. That isn't, doesn't require all this, and it might end up being a 5-day tournament with the weather. So that for Tiger, who knows if he can even walk on Sunday. I do expect one of these days though, we're gonna go, God, Tiger ended up finishing tied 7th, and we didn't play him at whatever. But I still think he can compete. I just don't think he's quite there yet. He probably needs maybe next year.
Okay.
Go ahead. Let's play the game.
Who's winning?
Can you tell me first?
No, because I know who's winning. So I figured if you were gonna. Okay.
I am going. Well, I guess I hate picking the guy who.
I mean, I'm honestly, whoever you pick, you're really picking for second, because the guy I'm telling you is definitely. I mean,
I guess I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say John Rahm.
He can't, because he's definitely winning.
Oh, you had him?
Yep, he is.
Okay, perfect. Then I can say the other name I was hemming and hawing over. Yeah.
Perfect. No, we're both going to go with him then. He's 100% winning this tournament.
I was going to say Koepka if you spoke first. So I'm in on that. I love that call.
Yeah.
I'm very, very in on that. So, great start. So, all right, under 10K to top 5.
Under 10K to top 5. Well, it's going to be Joaquin Niemann.
I like that. And I am going to take Wyndham Clark.
I like that. Was the other one I had.
Nice. Look at us.
Under 9K top 10.
Under 9K top 10 is actually a little bit harder than I thought it will. No. So under top 10, no, this is the easy one. Tommy Fleetwood. Top 10, Tommy.
Yeah, and I will go with Tyrrell Hatton.
Tyrrell Hatton. I love this. These are my lineups right here that I'm playing so far. So
under 8K top 20.
Under 8K to top 20, I'm gonna say Sepp Straka.
And I will go with Siwoo Kim.
Siwoo. Okay, that's the one who I wasn't on as much this week as everybody, and maybe now I get a little bit on it.
I mean, he'll get 19th, like right on that.
Yeah, sure. That's fine.
All right, so we need one 6K and one 5K to make the cut today.
Well, I think we need one 6K. Let's try for the best finishing 6K and the 5K to make the cut.
Okay, fine. Fair.
That's a little easy here.
Best finishing 6K. Well, I'm just Keith Mitchell.
And that was my second pick, but my first one is Kurt Kitayama.
Okay, and some under 6K guy just to make the cut, or a top performing 6K guy. I'm going to give you another one since we both agreed on the other guy. I'm going to go with Mackenzie Hughes.
That's the other one that I liked a lot.
Good, perfect.
So we're pretty much in good shape here. But instead of saying the Soderberg, which we already agree on, I'm just looking to see what my ownerships actually are, so I can pick somebody that I'm actually playing a decent amount of. I'm going to say this would be a better play for instead of making the cut for the best finishing under 6K, because he's got upside, but a massive downside would be Luke List. But I prefer the Soderberg and Hughes.
Over 9K to miss the cut.
Over 9K to miss the cut. Oh boy. We don't have the obvious. Where did they put Spieth's 88 this week? Nailed that. We nailed that one last week. Even though there was no cut, or last time there was a cut. I'm struggling for a second. Do you mind taking a shot here?
Yeah, I'll take Justin Thomas. All
right, I'll take. Boy, I really hate taking any of these guys, even though I like him to have a bounce back. None of these guys are missing the. Okay, you know what? I'll say Cam Smith, but I just don't know how that happened.
I like that.
I think it's probably the right answer, but it's just. It's either he or Hovland, I think, just because Hovland's been streaky. But Hovland is fit for this course. All right, so here we go. It's going to be a fun week. Hopefully we see some screenshots on Sunday and some sweats through the weekend, and we actually have a cut, so we can have a cut sweat. She won't be here, but I'll do a little talking about it on Friday. And good